the rest of Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is one of them. So I'll say it again. A fundamental teaching in the whole of Srimad Bhagavatam is there's one source, and Krishna is that one source. Krishna is to Bhagavan Swayam. Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original form of the personality of Godhead, from whom many expansions come. When that statement comes in chapter 3, where there's a list of expansions, and Krishna is listed in the expansions, and then he turns around, Shuta Goswami turns around and says, of all these listed, one is the source of the other ones that are listed. Krishna is that source. It's a very important verse. It's a fundamental verse. There is one source of everything. Now there's language that indicates seemingly something else. So this is a Sanskrit rule. If there's an ultimate teaching, then other teachings need to be understood in terms of the ultimate teaching. So what's the ultimate teaching? That's a good question. But Krishna is the source of everything, is the ultimate teaching. So sometimes, just like for example, we've been discussing in the evening the prayers of Prahlad to Nrsingadev. The prayers of Prahlad to Nrsingadev includes a section where Prahlad is describing the appearance of Lord Brahma, and from the appearance of Lord Brahma, is darkness in all directions. He's on the lotus flower. He climbs down the stem of lotus flower, plunges into the Garbhodak ocean, and he's searching for his origin, Vishnu. He can't find, so he goes back up. And he engages in austerities, the description goes, for 1,000 celestial years. He heard tapa. That part isn't mentioned, but he does tapa. And the tapa is chanting of his mantra. And few other things happen. And Lord Vishnu comes before him. Brahma understands Vishnu is my source. And then Prahlad speaks of to Nrsingadev, you are that Vishnu. You are Vishnu. And he then goes on to describe Mahavishnu specifically. Universe is coming from the bodies of Mahavishnu and etc., etc., etc. So Nrsingadev, is Vishnu and Mahavishnu. And then he describes Hayagriva, another one of the avatars. Speaking to Nrsingadev, you're Hayagriva. You killed Kaitapa and Madhu. And then you delivered the Vedas to Brahma, because the description is Brahma's perceiving the personality of Godhead. And the procedure that he underwent, and similarly we can undergo, to perceive the personality of Godhead. The conclusion of Lord Brahma, we know from Sri Brahma Samhita, Krishna is the origin of everything. Ishvara Parama Krishna, etc. And Sarva Karana Karanam. So here, same principle, very important principle. There's one source of everything, and one source of everything, Swayam Bhagavan Krishna. So Swayam Bhagavan Krishna is speaking to Devaki, and previous lifetime you were Prishni, and I, the very same me, the same person, me, speaking to you now, appeared as your son, as Prishni Garbha. And then as I appeared as the son of Aditi and Kashyapa, same me. And now it's me. So now, supposing you haven't encountered Jiva Goswami, or the writings of Jiva Goswami. So what's going on here? There's so many supremes. There's so many sources. Is there original source of all sources, original cause of all causes? And the answer is yes, referring back to Canto 1, Chapter 3, and other places. And so the language is a detail, but the language in this verse and the language in verse 37 indicate two things. One, Krishna is the source. He's the original source of Prishnigarbha. He's the original source of Vamana. Prishnigarbha and Vamana were him, but partial. That's the second part, second message. They're not complete. Besides the fact that they're not the source and Krishna is the source, they don't manifest the fullness of what Krishna is now going to display in this appearance as the son of Vasudeva and Devaki. That is to say, they're characteristics that Krishna exhibits that the other Vishnu forms don't exhibit. We know this from Rupa Goswami. I mean, fortunately for us, we have the 6 Goswamis. And there are people that don't have that facility. Because of the 6 Goswamis, Jiva Goswami and Rupa Goswami in particular, we can understand Krishna's tu Bhagavan Swayam, and then this particular Sanskrit phrase in this verse, number 43, this particular phrase in verse 43, Tenaiva Vapusha, Tenaiva Vapusha, Tenaiva Vapusha. That's in the second line of verse 43, which means that Krishna is the original. Now, I'm not a Sanskrit scholar. Probably none of us here are Sanskrit scholars. So what does that mean? What's the implication? Why are those words chosen by Vyas? Because Jiva Goswami unpacks it and says, he is indicating, Krishna is speaking to Devaki, indicating, I am that same person that was spoken of in verse 37 and became Prishnigarbha and then became Vamana, and I'm that same person, but I'm the original person. I, as your son, am the original person, and the others were expansions of the original person. Although, in one sense, the same, it's I am, I became, but this one is particularly unique because it's the source of the others. Existentially, the source of the others, because there's only one source of everything. There's a really nice description. This is Canto 10. In Canto 9, there's a nice description of, Canto 6. There's a nice description of the Yamadutas going to Yamaraj when they were checked. And they come before Yamaraj with a complaint. A complaint. Wait a minute, we thought you were the supreme. And who are these other fellows? Vishnu Dutas. They were representing the supreme. So it would be really confusing if there's two supremes. It can't be two supremes. So, is it one supreme? And are you not that supreme? So if so, then how did these fellows, the Vishnu Dutas, check us? Because they were very powerful, and they checked us. They told us to come back and talk to you, so we get our situation straight. If we're going to carry out the orders of Yamaraj, we have to find out from Yamaraj. So the point is, there's a nice place where it's very explicit. There's only one source of everything. It can't be multiple. There are not multiple sources of everything. There's one source of everything. So when we find texts, in the Vedas that say something other than Krishna is the source of everything, we have a frame of reference. We know how to process it. Just like because it's Sringa Chaturdashi coming. Just like Prahlad speaking to Hiranyakashipu, to Lord Nrsimhadev, you're the source of everything. But how are we to take that? Maybe Prahlad didn't know what he was talking about. He's a nice young boy, but doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not Mahajan, he's just a nice young boy that did some good homework, and he really doesn't know. It's subordinate. The Nrsimhadev being the this and the that and the other thing that he says he is. He is. But it's subordinate to a higher principle. What's the higher principle? It's this verse. Or it's 1.3.43. That Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. Krishna is the original source. Or in this verse, Tenaiva Vapusha. I'll read. This is from the purport. This is the purport of the word Tenaiva Vapusha. When the Lord mentioned the birth of Prishnigarbha, he did not say Tenaiva Vapusha, but he assured Devaki that in the third birth, the Supreme Personality Godhead, Krishna, had appeared not his partial expansion. Prishnigarbha and Vamana were partial expansions of Krishna. But in this third birth, as Krishna himself, Krishna himself appeared. This is the explanation given in Sri Krishna Sandarbha by Srila Jiva Goswami. Now it's a little complicated, but boiled down, Krishna's disclosing to Devaki and thus to us that he is the original source of all the avatars, Prishnigarbha, Vamana, etc. He is the original source. They have a oneness in relationship with him, but a difference in relationship with him, because they're not the source. And Krishna is the source. And one other point I'd like to mention is from the first verse that we recited together, text number 40, there's a description that says two things. The personality of Godhead, according to these texts, the personality of Godhead, this is, text 43 purport, first line. The Supreme Personality of Godhead chooses a mother and father from whom to take birth again and again. So who decides? Can one become? Well, if Krishna decides, then one can become. But if Krishna doesn't decide, one cannot become. Doesn't matter how qualified one is. But Krishna chooses who will be his mother and father, and who will be his friends, and who's his whole entourage. And then what they do together, their pastimes, and it's all under his direction, because he's the Supreme. So he chose, he's saying all this to Devaki, so she knows that she's a chosen person because of her qualification in this life and previous lives. Specifically, statement is made in this purport that because of her execution of austerities, she answered to austerities in a previous yuga. Krishna chose to become their son in Treta Yuga or Dwapara Yuga. But it's the same Krishna that appeared as Prishnigarbha, etc. And then another detail, and I'm going to end with this, the other detail is in the purport to text 40. In the purport, Prabhupada explains, it's hinted at, but here it is explicitly, a mother and father of this world may have a desire to have sex with one another, mother and father, husband and wife, in order to have Krishna as their child. And that's not recommended. it's a foolish proposal. So for Prishni, Garbha, and Sutapa to have such a desire, it's not foolish. Or Vasudeva and Devaki, because they're qualified. But otherwise, it's not recommended, or it's foolishness. So it's a type of dharma to engage in sex for the purpose of propagation of Krishna conscious children. That's okay. But that Krishna will become our son, that's foolish. That's the statement. Over on this end is indulging in sense enjoyment for the sake of sense enjoyment. And there's a byproduct, and that's dependence, and customarily, not always. And then there's dharma to raise a child, to become a parent and then to raise the child, etc. Then there's the other extreme. So the materialist doesn't have that dharma, but there's a dharma. Then way over on this other end, have that misapplication of that dharma that we should have Krishna as our son. That's foolish. It's not the proper understanding of dharma. But it may go on. Doesn't mean because it goes on. Someone has such an elevated desire that that's nice. It's not nice. It's a misapplication of a dharmic principle. That's from text 40. Discussion. Little technical and a little complicated, but Krishna's, to understand the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance and activities is rare to achieve, because one who achieves that, no more birth. So there's details and there's details. And those details, our acharyas, particularly our Goswamis, they're providing us with scriptural evidence to give us the teaching of the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance. And even in comparison to other forms of the Lord in their transcendental appearance. And the parents of those appearances of the Lord. His purpose being to engage in confidential, loving exchange with them, because they want. They have a transcendental desire, and he fulfills their transcendental desire. And does many other things too. Okay, any discussion? Yes?
That Krishna, in front of the Devaki, Krishna showed the Vishnu form first, 400 form.
Yes.
And then this talking say the Tene Bapusa mean as a Vishnu form or as a Krishna form?
Vishnu.
Yeah. Tene Bapusa mean in the previously Prishni Garbha and Vamanadev.
Yes, yes.
And later on, why Krishna shows first the Vishnu form? Because of the, I have just questioning myself also. Because of the Vasudeva and Devaki, they don't know about the Krishna's original form, or they know only Vishnu form. What is the differences?
It's a lila. In one sense, to give the answer, it's a lila. It's kind of like whitewashing something, so you don't really explain it, just say it's a lila. But it's a lila. It's not like they didn't know. How does one know? One knows on the strength of bhakti, and then Krishna reveals on the strength of bhakti. So he's revealing his position. But then, so it's not they didn't know, they know. He's revealing. However, two things. There's a rasa factor, that is, Devaki wanted Krishna as her son, not as form Vishnu. So she wanted Krishna to assume a childlike form, because she wanted to have that affection of mother to dependent. You're not mother dependent is Vishnu. It's the other way around. So, to fulfill her parental affection, she made a request because she wanted. The second, she gave a very unreasonable explanation why. The unreasonable explanation why is when Kamsa comes to know, Kamsa has already killed the first 6 of my children. When he comes to know the 8th child of Devaki has been born, he's going to come and try to kill you. But he's Vishnu. Who can kill Vishnu? No way. So it's unreasonable. But her reasoning is, if when he comes to know, he'll come to try to kill you. So can you assume a childlike form, as if the childlike form is more able to defend himself than a Vishnu form? It's the same. But the acharyas describe, this is all acharya commentary. She was thinking, maybe I can hide Krishna somewhere and he won't be able to find Krishna. That's also unreasonable. They're in a prison cell. And where's she going to hide a baby? Because he's going to want, the 8th child and smash the 8th child like he did the first 6. So it's unreasonable, but it's rasa driven. Rasa, not rasa. Rasa driven. And as well, Leela Shakti, our acharyas describe, Leela Shakti acts in such a way that words or intelligence is given to a particular devotee to facilitate the Lord's pastimes. So she spoke the way that she spoke, influenced by rasa and influenced by Leela Shakti. So that, because later Krishna is going to be, before he assumes the childlike form, transfer me from this prison house. Before he assumes, because he doesn't say that it's in the childlike form. It's Leela driven and rasa driven. But back to your question, did she not know? She knew. He disclosed.
Because he appeared from her heart, not by the Om or all this thing. Lord Vishnu come
That's
from
okay.
the heart that mentioned.
That's okay. But he is your child. However, from wherever, however. The relationship is parent to child.
That means he desired to come from the Devaki and then that's happened. Otherwise, no way to. The penances also, it's a.
Just like, from the mind of Vasudeva to the mind of Devaki, it's transcendental. The whole thing is transcendental. A child appears in a four-arm form. That's transcendental. The whole thing is transcendental. One sense, to give a worldly explanation of that which is transcendental won't work. It bounces. It just doesn't fit. So then you whitewash it. It's Leela. But it's Leela, it's not just a whitewash. He's exhibiting a pastime, and he's revealing to her role in his pastime. She has affection, and she has a role to play in his pastime. He wants her affection, and he wants to perform Leela of killing demons and giving satisfaction to the devotees. He wants. She's an instrument for that.
That means like 40th number takes, that means they are not in that mood like sex life, all these things. They just wants to the son by penances, purifying by that.
Yeah, but he, Vasudeva, is a householder. and he produced children. And the normal way children produce is not the way Krishna was produced. But he had propensity, utilized in transcendental service. They're householders. Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Anything else? How about you? Anything? Okay. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.